blog entry 111, and this one is from 3/14 of 2023. Now, this blog entry is a little bit different. I was visiting the temple in Austin, Texas, and I was watching a video of their guru, and there was a quote from it that was just really amazing. It started really unlocking some thoughts. So that was the only thing that I put in this blog entry, was the quote and my thoughts afterwards. It was really led to some really awesome meditations. So the quote was, all emotional responses from the material world, each emotion is like a general of Maya. Selflessness and doing what pleases Krishna is the only true happiness, bringing bliss to everything in the process. So when you first start to think about that, you're just thinking about, or I was just thinking about the emotional responses being rooted in some material desire or like an emotion, a material emotion, kind of like fear or something like that, always blended. But in the selflessness and the growing towards Krishna and doing the Krishna service and love, that is just rooted in love for God and God's love. And so that permeates from you into everything that you're doing, and then to everything that's involved in what you're doing. So the people, really everything. It's amazing. So here's the thoughts I had at the time when I was reflecting on that quote as well. When we start to see our emotions as generals of Maya, it becomes easier to recognize the ways they march us into forgetfulness of God. Even the emotions that feel noble, pride in our service or attachment to a certain way of doing things, can subtly turn our attention away from Krishna if they are rooted in self rather than love. And so the self is more of the material motivations. And then the love would just be love for God. And that's where it permeates through you to other things. And it stays on course in that way, which is really interesting. The beautiful secret is that love for God grows not by force, but by gentle redirection. And this kind of goes back to the theme that you'll hear a lot when talking about the path of Bhakti, how it's going to be normal that you get distracted, but the coming back and the coming back and the coming back to your practice and that relationship and connecting with God is what grows the most, for sure. When an emotion rises, instead of fighting it or pretending it isn't there, we can offer it to Krishna. Here is my anger, my longing, my joy. Please accept it and make it yours. Over time, this offering transforms the emotion itself. Anger becomes courage, protect your dharma, the dharma you're doing. Longing becomes yearning for Krishna's presence. Joy becomes praise. And so you can actually meditate like that, and you can gather your emotion in your palm and ask Radha and Krishna to help you gather that, or God, however you connect. And you'll feel it gather in your palm, and you can offer that emotion straight up. Just lift your hands up and offer that straight to God or straight to Radha and Krishna, and it'll lift from you. And you'll feel lighter, and you'll feel closer. And they count all emotion as love in your devotion, and it's wonderful. So here we go. Go back to reading. Selflessness, in this sense, is not the loss of self, but the finding of your truest self, the one that lives only for the pleasure of the divine. In pleasing Krishna, we find our hearts softening, our service becoming lighter, and our lives filled with a quiet bliss that radiates outward. Growing love for God is like tending a garden, patient, consistent, and full of trust that the seeds of devotion will blossom when they are bathed in the light of His grace. So again, that comes back to coming back to the relationship, coming back to your devotion, the reuniting, the thinking of God again, thinking of Radha and Krishna, and coming back to that practice. But the thing that was really interesting was just thinking from this quote of all emotions are Maya's general, but the bliss and the love you feel when you think about God isn't. And the only one that isn't. And that will lead you more and more towards God. Yeah, it's just amazing. And the love of God, or the love of Radha and Krishna, just permeates through you and everything around you as you do that. It's phenomenal. So yeah, I was really moved by that quote. I thought it was awesome. Well, that's it for today. Thanks for tuning in. And if you have a chance, like and subscribe to the YouTube channel. It's super helpful. and have a great rest of your day. Bye-bye.